the dynamics of attraction, why women lose interest in you, and how you can change your communication as a man to attract and keep the right girlfriend or wife. Today, I want to take you onto a little journey of exploring how the dynamics of attraction between men and women actually work. Not just what the mainstream tells you in terms of just be a good guy, just be nice and she'll like you. Being kind and being a good guy is part of the equation, but it's evidently not enough. You have to understand that fundamentally there are two forces at play when it comes to women liking you. Let's simplify it. One is value and the other one is comfort. One could be described as masculine and then the other one as feminine. One is trust and connection, and then the other one is attraction, if you will. Bear with me, I'll explain. Most men are good at making women feel comfortable, at building trust and comfort and connection, at getting women to like them by being nice, by agreeing, by not being too edgy, by being available. Well, that's how you can get her to like you. And that builds trust and comfort. The problem is if you have a lot of trust and comfort, but you don't have a lot of value in her eyes, and I'm going to explain what leads to value in a couple of minutes, then you'll end up where? In the friend zone. You're her gay best friend. She feels comfortable around you, she trusts you, but there's no attraction. Now, what happens if you have a lot of attraction, value, masculine energy, if you will, in her eyes, whatever synonym, whatever metaphorical term you want to use to describe this part of the equation? What if you have this but no trust and comfort? Well, then you're an F-boy in her eyes. You're a player. She thinks, oh, he's just out there getting girls. She doesn't trust you. There's not enough connection, trust, comfort, reassurance. So what your job is first in any interaction with a woman is to build your value in her eyes, and then you can calibrate with comfort, trust, reassurance later. Obviously, you need both, but most men lack this piece. And we'll talk about today what leads to that. One of the things that leads to value, her perceiving you as valuable, and by the way, we're only going to talk about the communicative aspect today. Obviously, there's factors such as how much money you have and how good looking you are and how tall you are and social proof and all of that. Fair enough, right? They all matter. They all play a role. But the single greatest lever you can actually control and influence, and in my opinion, the most important one, is communication and how you can build attraction by communicating in a way that she perceives you as a valuable man. And not valuable in terms of your worth as an individual, but your value in the dating marketplace. Tony Robbins says this. This is not about the value of your soul, but the value of you in the marketplace. Your soul has amazing, infinite value, but in the realm of practicality, women perceive one person a lot more valuable and attractive than another. So, what has to happen for you to be super valuable to her so that she feels attracted to you? Well, one is radical honesty and polarizing communication. Why does that matter? And we've talked about that at length on this channel, because it makes you come across like a man with options. You're implying through your lack of attachment to outcome, which is displayed through your freedom of expression, your radical honesty, and the polarizing nature of the words you've chosen, that makes you come across, that implies you have options. And women want to be with a man who is desired by other women. As counterintuitive as it seems, this is not a manipulative play or tactic or some nonsense. But in terms of evolutionary biology, anthropology, I'm not a biologist or an anthropologist, but I understand how dating dynamics work, and apparently this is the biological or anthropological origin of this mechanism. We as human beings used to live in tribes of 100, 200 people, 300,000 years ago-ish, when our brain was shaped predominantly into its current form, the way it's operating these days. And we had one tribal leader called the alpha male. Silly little stupid term, but it describes how the tribe was ruled. There was one person who had to fight to get to the top and then probably keep fighting off contenders to stay at the top. Women wanted children with him. Why? Because women want to have the highest probability of good genetics and survival. That's it. So all women are ultimately screening for is a man, even if they don't want children, and most women really do. Not all, but most really do want children, because otherwise they'll be deeply unhappy at some point. They're looking for a man who exhibits characteristics of a tribal leader, as ridiculous as it sounds. They want to be with a guy who has the best genetics and who can secure the offspring and provide. That's why that matters. Now, back in the day, when we lived in a tribe of 150 people, let's say, it was rather easy to determine who the tribal leader was because there was only one. But in a world of 8 billion people, in the US, 300 million people, 150 million men, 15, 20 million men or women in whatever suitable age bracket, how's she supposed to tell who's the tribal leader? Well, that's one of the reasons status indicators play a role, because she wants to derive indicators based on your behavior or communication as to whether you're somebody she should invest her future into. So it's not that women are so superficial. No, she just wants to make sure her offspring is secure and safe. That makes perfect sense. And assuming positive intent, by the way, yes, even with women, as crazy as that sounds, is a healthy characteristic. There's a lot of talk on the internet that women are so evil, so superficial. It's all nonsense. Yeah, some are, some men are. Most people aren't compatible with who you are, but I believe most people, men or women, are good people at heart. Most genuinely are. So it doesn't hurt to assume positive intent in general. We could open up that talk track, but that would lead to another 3-hour conversation. So women want to make sure that they find babies, that they create babies and sustain babies healthily with a man that provides the best genetics. Now, how is she supposed to judge that? Well, that's why looks and stuff matters, of course, to an extent. But ultimately, she judges it by the way you communicate, because by the way you communicate, that gives her an indication as to whether you're a tribal leader. And that is why, in part, we're going to talk about other methods here today. Radical honesty and being polarizing in your communication increases the probability that she'll perceive you as such. Because again, it shows that you have options, and the tribal leader back in the day had options. Therefore, that's a status indicator. And by the way, please don't fall into the trap of thinking that everything is a status game. That's not what it is. And the right woman doesn't want you just because you have some sort of status. But it does play a role, so you just need to learn to communicate, yes, radically honestly and authentically, and say the things you actually believe, but also effectively. And that's the next part. Radical honesty is one part, but now we talk about the effectiveness. What else can you do in your communication to become a lot more attractive in her eyes? And this goes a lot deeper, by the way, but I do want to give you an insight into the topic so you can audit how you're currently communicating and get better results. Now, if you want me to help you with that, personally, we go much, much deeper into this in my coaching program. Again, if you want me to help you personally, if you're a man who's doing well in his career or your business and you want to find the right girlfriend or wife, click the link below and apply for a free initial consultation. So, what can you do in terms of your communication to become a lot more attractive? You can use compliments, for example, because that create emotions within her. It makes her feel alive, and you become a source of positivity for her. What else can you do? You can use teasing. Now, teasing has gotten a bit of a bad reputation, but it's actually something you do with everybody. You tease everybody that you feel slightly comfortable and confident around. If you tease somebody in a respectful way, not to make fun of them, coming from a warm and mutually beneficial place, not to put somebody else down, that's not what I'm talking about. But if you tease somebody playfully, it implies a sense of pre-existing relationship. You bond over it. And again, also, by the way, if you tease her, instead of just validating her and pleasing her the whole time, she'll realize, oh, he has options. He's not so attached to the outcome. Because if you're supposed to be kind and agree, and the trust component, the connection component, is not to be underestimated. at all. You have to make sure she feels safe, seen, and understood. And there are advanced relationship dynamics that come into play later. But in the beginning, she won't even stick around long enough for you to create that level of trust if she doesn't perceive you as attractive or valuable for her. So, teasing can really help with that. Doing a little role play, making her feel alive through the use of assumptions instead of just asking her, so what do you do for work? I mean, obviously, if you meet her from a dating app, you kind of know what she's doing. But let's say you meet her in a bar, you can, instead of just asking her, what do you do? Do you come here often? How old are you? Like 17 interview questions in a row that make her feel bored. You can say, you look like a lawyer. Oh, why? And it doesn't matter whether you're right or not. But it's an assumption and it's something different instead of just placing the burden of the responsibility on her. Another way to become more attractive is to just speak with certainty. Sounds silly, but simply by speaking with more confidence and adding certainty to your spoken word in your way, not in my way, can be a lot calmer, can be whatever, in your authentic way, but more certainty, 30% more certainty, that will make you come across more attractive. Why? Because the tribal leader back in the day was confident as hell. Because why shouldn't he be? He has to be in order to be able to lead the tribe. In order for the tribe to trust him, he has to communicate a vision and he has to show up every single day in the most confident version of himself, as the most confident version of himself. Even if he trips over his own words every once in a while, he does not allow that to make him question his own self-worth. You can never allow yourself to exhibit insecurities. And again, that may also be something that adds a lot of pressure because every once in a while, yeah, you can. You don't even have to be perfect. Not everything has to go perfect on the first date for her to really like you. It's not about putting up an image of perfection. That's not relatable anymore at all. And I'm not saying 2,000% more confident, but can you add 30% more certainty to your spoken word? That really makes a difference. Storytelling is another way that builds your value in her eye because you can tell her about the experiences you've had. You can include elements of social proof. You can talk about the goals. Because another thing that makes her excited, that can be built into the storytelling, is showing her that you're a man of ambition, not just current success. Because women value ambition more than current success. And by the way, if you're successful, that's a word of warning to you. If you're not there yet and you're a little bit younger and you're only working in your career, that should give you hope. You don't have to be successful yet. If money was all it took, I wouldn't have any clients, okay? Because my clients, they have money, some of it or a lot of it, okay? And if money was all it took to find the right girlfriend or wife, I wouldn't have a job because it's ultimately communication skills and learning how to sustain attraction and how to pass her congruence tests, for example, as you go forward. That determines the ultimate success of the relationship. But if you're not there yet, no problem. As long as you're working hard, you're good, you're kind, you're ambitious, you can find a woman who's going to build something with you. And if you're already successful, here's a word. She needs to see that you're doing something. And it can even be as simple as you being excited about your jiu-jitsu progress or yoga or whatever it happens to be, or a charity. You can't just coast. If you're a man who has already a type of success in your life, if you think you could just chill for the next 5 years, she has to see that you're on some sort of a mission. It doesn't have to be 16-hour days anymore necessarily, but she has to see that there is something you care about. Passion, exhibiting a sense of excitement and enthusiasm for something. Can be a new company you acquire. Can be a new job you're starting, a new hobby. She has to see you're passionate about something, that there's something you unapologetically pursue as a man with all of your might. That makes you come across incredibly attractive. Determination. And then she'll see, oh, wow, this guy perhaps is a leader of men as well. And again, don't fake. Please, there's a lot of nonsense on the internet about how you should portray yourself. And yes, it matters how you come across. I pay a lot of attention to it, but I don't fake anything. And I'm not pretending to be perfect at all. I suck at 99% of things. Hanging up a picture. Software. I could learn all of those things because I believe my IQ is high enough in order to do so. But I don't want to. I suck at 99% of the activities I could devote my life to. There's a couple of things that I'm one of the best in the world at, probably. Dating, helping men find the right one, coaching, and personal development. That's it. Everything else, I'm pretty good. I'm better in fitness, I would say, than 80-90% of people in the world, and understanding health and supplements. But even there's a difference between this and having an area of expertise and having coached hundreds of men from all around the world and haven't been able to create that result for myself in my own life and for plenty of people across the globe, most of them in the UK and the US. So I'm not trying to hold up a picture of perfection, and you shouldn't either. And don't brag and don't fake, because she'll never appreciate it. But some people think that being authentic means being insecure. I couldn't possibly be totally confident and authentic, because that's not real, is it? It's more real to be inauthentic. If you don't need a reason to be insecure, why do you need a reason to feel confident? If you don't need a reason to be insecure and feel bad, why do you need a reason to feel good and confident? I would encourage you to make a decision to show up in the most confident version of yourself and to speak with certainty and to communicate a vision and to create certainty from within yourself. The ultimate quality she's going to look for is being able to create certainty from within. Whether she presents you with a congruence test or life presents you with a congruence test. That doesn't mean that you don't feel emotions, that you won't feel nervousness every once in a while. That's fine. Just don't act from it. Don't act out of a place of scarcity. You can feel it. We're all going to feel it every once in a while, but then your habits have to be on point. You have to go back to assuming the responsibility for creating a desired mental and emotional state within minutes, or minimum or latest within half an hour to an hour. And there's plenty of tools that you can use for that. So these are a lot of things that you can already use. Again, it goes deeper, but understand that that's your job first. Communicate in a way that makes you come across very, very attractive to her. And then also pay attention to calibration and being warm and building trust. The balance is what matters. If you go into either extreme, you either end up in the friend zone or she'll perceive you as an F-boy. What I want you to take away from this video is that you're in control of how much attraction you build, but only ever under the premise that you're actually compatible. This never works with a woman that you're not compatible with or who just doesn't like your face. There's plenty of women who don't like gingers. And I'm not here to try to convince anybody of shit. I'm not trying to convince you or anybody. You want to communicate a value proposition and then let the cards fall where they may. You're not trying to convince anybody. And if she notices that you just unapologetically, freely, yet calibrated and lovingly and warmly communicate a value proposition, in other words, your personality, freely, and you let the cards fall where they may, and you don't care whether the date goes successful or not, that in turn makes you come across a lot more attractive. So, if you want me to help you personally find the right girlfriend or wife, apply for a free initial consultation. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.